So students, in this video I'll be discussing about thalassemia. It is a kind of genetic disorder. What happens basically in thalassemia is that there is a defective globin chain. Hemoglobin present in red blood cell. It is made up of alpha globin and beta globin chain. So it is basically an autosomal disorder because it is present in the other chromosome apart from the sex chromosomes, and it is a kind of quantitative disorder. Why it is called quantitative, I'll be discussing. Now you see, alpha globin protein is formed or is determined by two pairs of genes present in chromosome number 16, and beta globin chain, it is controlled by, or the formation of beta globin is controlled by one pair of gene present in chromosome number 11. Now, so total we are having how many alleles? Total we are having 6 alleles, which will control the perfect formation of the globin proteins, which is required for formation of hemoglobin. Now, out of these 6 alleles, if there is defective in any one of the allele, then the structure of the hemoglobin will be defective, and that will lead to malformation of globin chain, and it will hamper the formation of hemoglobin. So the red blood cells will not be able to carry blood as it should be, carry oxygen as it should have been carrying. So the carrying capacity will decrease. So now we need to understand why it is called quantitative disorder. Suppose there is defect in one allele of any one allele. Out of the 6 allele, any one allele is defective. So it is a very minor problem because the other alleles are okay. So they will be forming a perfect hemoglobin. Whatever small defect will be there in this particular globin chain, so it will lead to very mild case of anemia. However, as the number of defect keeps on increasing, suppose there are defects in 2 alleles, suppose there are defect in 4 alleles. So as the number of defects due to mutation, if the number of defects are more in the number of alleles, so the condition will become more and more severe. And if there is defect in all the 3 alleles, so all the globin chain will be malformed, and so in such cases it is a very acute case of thalassemia, and in such case frequent blood transfusion is required. So what will be the expression of the disease? That will depend on how many alleles are defective, due to which the structure of the protein will be, the globin protein will be defective. So more the number of alleles are defective due to mutation, more severe will be the case of thalassemia, and therefore it is called a quantitative disorder. So so in the earlier video I have discussed about hemophilia, color blindness, sickle cell anemia, phenylketonuria. In this video I have discussed about thalassemia. So all these are genetic disorders. So along with that, let me also discuss the second category of genetic disorders, which are also called the chromosomal disorders. Chromosomal disorders occurs due to difference in the number of chromosomes. So you know that earlier I have discussed it can be polyploidy or aneuploidy. If it is a case of polyploidy, that means number of chromosome set is more. It is a case of triploid or tetraploid. Such condition, it is fatal in case of human being. Now most of the chromosomal disorder occurring in human being is due to aneuploidy. Aneuploidy is where the number of chromosomes differ by 1 or 2, it may be. So the examples given in your book, first example is that of Down syndrome. Down syndrome is also called 21 trisomy. So what happens in Down syndrome? The 21st, normally we know in a diploid condition what we will have, all the chromosomes are found in their pairs, the homologous chromosomes. Now in the 21st pair of chromosome, along with the normal 2, there will be one more chromosome present. So it is a case of 21 trisomy. So in total 47 chromosomes will be present. So what happens in Down syndrome? If a person is suffering from Down syndrome, he will have a round head. So all these symptoms are given in your NCERT book. You go through the text well, all the symptoms will be mentioned there, the features. Then they have a furrowed tongue. Normally we have a flat tongue. Furrowed tongue means there will be a furrow in between. So there's a case of a furrowed tongue, partially open mouth, palmar crease. Palmar crease means, suppose this is our hand, you have a characteristic palmar crease like this in shape of a palm leaf. So palmar crease, so all these are the, and low IQ. So these are the characteristics of Down syndrome. Earlier Down syndrome was also referred to as Mongolism, but nowadays that term is no longer used. Second case of chromosomal disorder is case of Klinefelter syndrome. Felter's syndrome. So what basically happens in Klinefelter syndrome? It is a disorder where the combination of the sex chromosome is XXY. Now since it is Y, so the person having this kind of disorder will be a male, but due to presence of the X chromosome, it will be a feminized male. So what are the characters of such a person? The person will be a sterile male, and the person will suffer from a problem which is called gynecomastia. That means the person will have enlarged breast. So sterile males having the case of gynecomastia. So that is Klinefelter syndrome. And number 3, there is a case of monosomy. So it is called Turner's syndrome. And the combination here is 45 chromosomes will be there in total. Why? Because there is XO. That means one X chromosome is missing. So since it is X, so such person will be sterile females with underdeveloped reproductive organs, and the IQ will also be less. So all these are the three, the Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome and Turner syndrome, the 3 types of chromosomal disorders. It's a case of aneuploidy. So what we find that in all the kind of genetic disorders mentioned here, the IQ is generally low and they have distinct morphological malformation. So this is all about the genetic disorders mentioned in your NCERT book for class 12. In my next video, I'll be discussing about the last part of this chapter, that is your pedigree analysis. Thank you.